Hi guys, I'm Elle. I'm the Keystone Stitcher. This is July 15th, 2023, and I'm filming this again. So I had problems with the camera not working. Everything was just jumping and not working. I then I don't know what happened to the next one. So this is take 3. So hopefully I can remember to tell you everything and not just assume that I told you. Okay, I participated in the Summer Stitches Challenge, so I have a lot to show you, which is why we're doing a mid-month update. But I also had a giveaway that I just wanted to be able to send out to you soon, and so it made sense to do a mid-month video for you so that I can send this out. So, before I do, I want to explain that I did do this off camera, selecting the winners, because we're going to do the winners first. I did this off camera because the comment picker I normally used, you now have to pay for it to do to use a keyword to filter things. I found another one. It was difficult to use, and as I was trying to figure out how to use it, I accidentally picked the first winner. And I thought, okay, that's the winner. I have to do that. And so I took a screenshot and decided, you know what? This is taking a long time. It is very cumbersome to use. I'll just do this all off camera and then take a screenshot so you can see. You can also see that when I show you the screenshot, the keyword is highlighted, so you'll know. Let's do the first one. The first one is for this bag of floss. And if you missed this before, I'm really sorry, but this is me going through my stash and getting rid of everything that is just driving me crazy because I have too much. So this is bag 1. You see the number right there. And the winner of this is Nina Hobby Site. Nina, you are very lucky. Okay. The second one is for another bag of floss. And you can see this is number 2. And, you know, there's a combination. You've got a cottage garden right here. You have a DMC variegated here. You know, I'm not going to go through. You've got some skeins that have not been bobbinated, some that are. This right here is a Veldani pearl cotton in grays and black. So that's number 2. This goes to Otimo, O-T-I-M-O, Otimo. You guys got to pick names that I can't say, right? Okay, the next one is for these organizers. So I mentioned I don't like floss drops, but for some reason I thought this would be a good idea to try for some of my smaller projects so I could just kit them up and not have to pull the entire skein. And then I realized that this is nothing more than a whole bunch of floss drops all in one. And so there's 5 cards in here, never been opened. This goes to Kitmar. The next one is 29 skeins of DMC 115. This is their variegated reds. I bought this to do a project, started it, didn't like it. So these are the unbobbinated skeins. This goes to Alexander Merritt. And finally, let me pick it up here. This pile of Aida scraps I was giving away. So some are, you know, you've got a couple just plain colors. You've got some Picture This Plus. You've got some I dyed myself. Anyway, this goes to Elisa from eCrafting in Colorado. So congratulations to everyone. You can reach out to me to claim your prize through either Instagram, which is probably the best way. If you are on Instagram, and I am the Keystone Stitcher on Instagram, or you can email me at thekeystonestitcher@gmail.com. So those were the giveaways. If you did not go back and read through the comments and you are looking for a new way to organize your floss, go back and read through the comments. You guys, you left such amazing comments telling me how you work with your floss. There were ideas I never thought of, so I appreciated reading them, and I think they'll be helpful to anyone else. So let's get into all these whips, because I've got a nice big pile here. I participate in the Summer Stitches Challenge, for the most part. I decided I was not going to pull anything out and start something just because of the prompt. So if I didn't have anything for that prompt, I would go back and pull out something from my whip pile and work on that. I started on the 1st. I don't remember what the prompt was on the 1st, but I also pulled it out on the 7th, and that is A Promise of Tomorrow. This is by Thread Geeks. I'm working this on a 20 count Evenweave. I'm doing this time 2/1 full cross, and that's where I am. So I was up in this section up here. I then came down, reached the bottom of that page, and filled in a bunch more colors. So I'll bring that in real close. I hope that's not blowing out on the camera. So here's the before. I'll put it right above somewhere. And so you can see I got quite a bit done. So this I'm now at 3.04%. So in the 2 days I was able to put in 1,594 stitches. The next prompt was something with a bird, and so I picked up Grackles. This is, oh, I didn't tell you the artwork on this is Shawna Erbeck. That's the Thread Geeks. This is Grackles. Let's see how to best, there we go. This is, the artwork is by Omar, Rayyan, and it is charted by Heaven Earth Designs. I'm stitching this on a 20 count aida. And all that I worked on for the challenge was the tail feathers over here. And anytime the tail feather colors went into those antlers, I worked on the antlers. So let me see if I can pull this back, and I'll put the before in above it. So I'm now at 6.78% on this. And if you didn't catch, this is one of two of my granddaughter's favorite projects that I'm currently working on. She has one that she likes much, much more. Well, I wouldn't say much more, but she has one that she absolutely adores that is framed and hanging on my wall. But of what I'm working on now, this is one of two. This is, did I say this is at 6.78%? So, now, you can see I did not get that tail feather finished. And that's one of the reasons why when I stitch, I will stitch for several days on a project normally. And that is because I like to see much more progress. But one day, I came close. So I didn't have anything for the 3rd, but I was watching Holly. Her channel is Holly the Cross Stitch Addict. And she showed a project that I just knew I wanted to do. For a long time, I've been looking for something like that. And I hadn't found something. But I hadn't really searched hard. I just knew I would, when I saw something, I would know that would be it. And this was it. But I didn't have everything I needed for it. And by morning, I had it in my head that I wanted a new start. So I pulled out my butterfly fairies. Now I almost gave this away when I was going through and downsizing my stuff. And the reason for that is I'm not really into fancy ladies. I don't like metallics, and I don't like to work with beads. But I also, there's something about their faces. This does not use metallics, I don't think, nor does it use beads. Yeah, no metallics, no beads. And so what I did, there's day, there's night. I decided to do night because those colors are much more me, and her face isn't the focus piece of this. Her wings really dominate. On this one, you can see the face is much more obvious. It's right there center. So I figured I'd start with night. If in the end I don't like how the face looks and I don't think I'll be happy with the day, I won't do the day. But these colors, these are me. All these blues and all these are just beautiful. So if I don't do the day, I'll give this away to you guys. So let me put a picture up here so you can follow along. This is stitched on a 16 count antique white, which is what it called for. And for the most part, I'm doing this as called, except this corner, it was supposed to be 1/1 full cross. No, it wasn't. It was supposed to be 2/1 tent. And I was afraid that because this is night, I wanted more saturation of color. Plus, I'm going to frame this in a black frame, and I was afraid these light colors would get lost against the black frame. Other than that, I'm doing whatever calls for. So this very outer stitch along that wing is 1/1 full cross. I did 1/1, and then the next color is 2/2. My plan, whenever I pull this out, this won't be a priority, but I could see this being, you know, like a bonus stitch, because it does work up easily, and the chart is so easy to read. Unlike my Paul Vaughn, you don't have to search and try to figure out which symbol this is. My plan is to do enough of the outline of the wing that I can then come in and do that moon, because that moon is huge, and that moon, there's nothing really exciting about the moon. So that was my first new start. Then I went back to the Stitches Challenge, kind of. I think it was on the 5th that it called for a house or buildings. And so on the 4th and 5th, I didn't have anything for the 4th. It was patriotic, and I don't have anything patriotic. I pulled out my European city. So this is what it'll look like. This is on a 16 count, no, it's on an 18 count Aida that I dyed myself. The top of this is supposed to be all stitched in half stitch to give the effect of sky and clouds. I thought my fabric did really well with that, and I didn't need to stitch the top. So my plan for this month was to finish this page. So this is the edge of this page, but I was missing a color right here. So I still need to back stitch, and I still need to put that color in. I also came over here and ripped out the stitches that shouldn't have been there, and then worked down here and put a little bit in here. So you can see that. So here's where it was, and here's where it is. So this is not in Pattern Keeper, so I can't tell you what percentage it is, but basically I've done almost 3 of 4 pages. So the next one, let me get this on my board. The next one is Strength. The artwork is by Nicolee Payne. I'm stitching it on a 18 count very light pewter by Zweigart. My clip does not want to work. It is, what else do I need to? The artwork is by Nicolee Payne, charted by Unconventional X Stitch. And the prompt for this was dark fabric or dark floss. I don't like stitching on dark fabric, so I did this black. So I came up here and just added just over 800 stitches of black. And you can really see her head wrap coming in here. This is just gorgeous. So let me pull this back so I can put the before in. Move it down a little bit. There we go. So yeah, you can see I just worked this section right there. So this is now at 5.52%. Did I tell you that Grackles at 6.78%? Okay, so then my next one is one that I'm stitching with Tanya, who is Stitching Addicted, and pretty soon Selena, who is Bobo Handcrafts, also on here on Flosstube. She's currently kitting it up, so I'm not sure when she will start it, but this is Cosmic Wolf. This is by Paine Free Crafts. This is my very first Paine Free Craft piece. And this is on an 18 count Aida. Now this is not Zweigart. This fabric I picked up off of Amazon, and it's by Kaydo. I think it is C-A-Y-D-O. And I like it almost as much as I like Zweigart, but it's a fraction of the cost. So what I decided to do is come over here to the right and work on this next page. So I'm filling that in. So that page actually ends right there. So this little group right there, that 10 by 10 block is on the next page. So you can see all those colors of that wolf coming in. Now Tanya's working on the bottom, and I'm trying to move this back. Okay, so here's the before. Tanya's working on hers, and she started at the bottom with the trees. And oh my gosh, she and I both will comment and say, you know, I can't believe this is the same project. It looks so different. And it does look so different. So at that point, I was pretty much, I don't know what I'm doing here. I have a whole pile here, and I'm trying to organize it so I can figure it out. So at that point, I pretty much was done with the challenge. And I then had my next new start. So this was the one that I wanted to do, but I had the fabric. So I wanted to work on a band sampler. I did the band sampler, what was it, 2017, 2018, from Linen and Threads, which is now Fox and Rabbit, I think. Don't quote me on that. And I had so much fun doing that. You know, just the same color all the way through, working these bands. You had, you know, when that band is done, you had to finish. And it was great. It was also something that I could take outdoors and not have to lug my case or a whole bunch of floss. I just took one floss, my fabric, and in some cases that was repetitive enough that I didn't even need to take my tablet outside. So I had a piece of, this is Aquarius by Color and Cotton, and it's just a solid color. I mean, if you look really close, you can see a little bit of variegation, but it is so subtle. It's not. And I knew I wanted to do a monochrome piece. That was a given. Where's my clamp? I'm losing things. So I knew I wanted to do kind of a monochrome piece, but then I started thinking what I wanted more than monochrome is I wanted color on color. So tone on tone. So I was looking at 3750, 3760, and 3768. And then I started thinking, well, do I just want to pick one of these or do I want to combine them? And I thought, you know what, let me get some inspiration. And I went to Etsy, and I went to one of my favorite shops, which is Hand Dyed by Rolanda. And I just looked at her aida, or her floss. And this came up, it was one like third floss there. And I went, oh my gosh. So this is what it looks like. I'll show you. And I bought, these are called hanks. They're 50-yard hanks. So they're not like the big hanks you see from like Silks for You. And I thought, I was thinking this fabric was 18 count. I didn't go double check, but it's actually a 20 count. So I bought enough floss to do this 2/1 full cross. And here is the color. Yep, that's really accurate. So all I did is I just unwound this, and where, I don't know if you can pick up in there, you can see there's ends right there. So where the two ends meet, I just snipped it to cut it in half, and that gives me a nice long, and it's long enough for me. But yeah, so yes, this one is a floss drop because this is hers. This is a special edition, so there's not a name. Once I then realized that I had a 20 count, one thing I did know was that, well, this is a long dog. And one thing I saw was, especially in pandemic, because everybody's doing pandemic, that when you work on a smaller or a higher count, if you're doing 2 strands, it sometimes loses that sharpness because there's not a lot of gap between the stitches and the negative space. So here is what I have. This is Resistance is Futile. It'll look like this. And this is just one day. It worked up really quickly. So I'm actually, to get the full variegation, I'm working one stitch at a time, full cross. Usually I stitch across the first leg and then come back and do the next leg. I'm not fussy cutting this, as they say, but I am kind of like down in here, I am kind of thinking, where do I want to go next based on where the color changes. But I'm not being real like anal about it. So that is my start. Let me show you up close. And I just love these colors. Absolutely love these colors. But now, if you didn't catch what I was saying about that, you will know that I thought I was going to work this on an 18 count. Well, I knew which fabric. I just thought it was an 18 count. And I thought I would do 2 strands over 1. And since this was a special edition, I bought enough to do the whole project, which means in the end, whenever this is done, you will probably see this pop up as a giveaway. So I will keep that in the bag and safe. And okay, so the next one I did was my 4 seasons. I don't remember if I did this as part of, I think I did. I think one day, maybe on the 7th, the 7th was, I don't know, one day I might have, but I also pulled this out. So I did it 2 days. One day was for the oldest book Wednesday. And this is 4 Seasons by Soda Stitch. And I am working on this section right here. And I'm just trying to fill that in this month. So everything up here is done. Everything here is done. So this is the only section not done. I don't know if you can see everything I've done because a lot of it was in white. But I am currently now at 25.87%. So let me put in a picture of where it was last time you saw it. And hopefully you can see a difference. Yeah, because 2 days doesn't get you a lot of stitching. This is on a 16 count hand dyed by me. And let me show you. I did it in the same color as this, but this I let sit for about half an hour in my dye. This I literally dipped it, got some dye on it, let it sit for not even 30 seconds, I don't think, and pulled it out because I want it to be very subtle. This up here, you can see this building, that's not all stitched, so there's a lot of negative space in there, and I didn't want, even though I wanted this to have like a sky-like effect, I didn't want that to be in that building. So that's why I did that. Okay, so then we finally come to the last piece I worked on, and I worked on this for 4 days so far this month, and that is Alice in Snow White, artwork by Jasmine Beck-Griffith, charted by Heaven Earth Designs. This is the full version, and kind of where she is. I'll put a full picture of the before and after here when I'm done. But what I did a little bit in her hand and that curly Q. I filled in some missing stitches around her face and a little bit around her sleeves. Then I came down and started filling in her arm and her chest. But mainly what I did was all this black. So this is new. So from, I think it's here down is new. This black is new. And this is new. So yeah, all that black is new. And I am now at exactly 80%. I'm so excited. The other thing I'm really excited about, let me just prop this up, is that this black, when I started this project, there were 43,000 and some stitches of black. I'm now down to 1,600 stitches of black. And they're all, there's a gap and then they start again somewhere down here. So yeah, I also, this dark blue is 820 that is in her dress. And that color still has 6,900 stitches, so just under 7,000 stitches to go. But other than that blue, there is no color left that has more than 1,500 stitches left. And there's plenty that have less than 1,000, a few that have less than 100. So yeah, I'll be able to start seeing those zeros come up on Pattern Keeper. So that's what I've worked on. Plans moving forward. Well, before I get into the stitching plans, I should let you know there's going to be a new video out on Tuesday. It was something that Megan from Stories and Stitches kind of came up with, and it made me really think about my stitching in a completely different way, and really made me more conscious about what I'm stitching and why I'm stitching. And I thought, you know what? It made me think maybe if I do this and share with you, it'll help you, and maybe some of you will look at your stitching differently. So that'll be coming up Tuesday. The next video after that will be a regular update, which will be August 1st. And August 1st, you can expect to see Alice in Snow White because, you know, she has 42,164 stitches left. And I would like to have her done by September 1st. My granddaughter is, she said, her mom sent me a picture. They're repainting her bedroom. So it's all set up and she's going for this nice deepish, it's not dark, I mean, it's not going to be like black, but it's not real pale. It's a medium tone purple, and this will really pop on that. So you can expect to see that. You can expect to see Four Seasons, because I really want to finish this section. And so it'll probably come out a couple more times for Oldest Whip Wednesday. You can expect to hopefully see Cosmic Wolf, because my goal with this is to finish a page each month. These pages only have 3,500 stitches in them, so finishing a page is really easy. And finally, my goal for this month on this project was to finish the 3rd page. So I'm going to be running out to the store and picking up that last floss, because I think I need 6 or 7 flosses. Not enough to order online, but enough to go down to the store and pick it up. And our Joann's is right next to, we have a Fresh Time Market, so our Joann's is next to that, which is a grocery store of mainly just produce, but it's got produce, vegetables, meats, but it's mostly all organic and things you would find at a farmer's market. So I will pick that floss up, and then I need to do all the back stitch here so that I can finish that. After that, who knows, anything else that I pull out will be a surprise for both you and me. Again, if you were one of the winners, you can contact me through Instagram. I'm the Keystone Stitcher. I will put all of that up, or you can contact me at my email, which is thekeystonestitcher@gmail.com, and I will put that at the top of the description box. So yeah, congratulations to the winners. And until I see you again, happy stitching. Have a great month. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere like me, stay cool. My fan is usually right. I turned it off for the video, but my fan is usually running. And I will see you soon. Bye.